There's been a significant development during the winter session. The Rajya Sabha on Tuesday had passed the Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioners Bill 2023. This will guide the appointment of the CEC and other commissioners. Now, the bill was introduced originally on 10th August, but there were concerns that were raised. For example, on pay disparity, and that by former CECs that had raised these concerns. Now, the Union government introduced then an amendment. Now the salary and perks of the Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners will be maintained at the level of a Supreme Court judge. Moving the CEC Bill 2023, Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal said that the legislation has been brought in view of the Supreme Court judgment of March this year while hearing a PIL. But reacting to the bill and the introduction of it, it has become a huge political showdown. Senior Congress Member of Parliament Randeep Singh Surjewala said the proposed legislation completely violates the spirit of the Constitution that is enshrined in Article 14. Now, the bill is yet to be passed in the Lok Sabha. In March this year, the Supreme Court had given a judgment in which it had said Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners must be appointed on the advice of the panel comprising the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. Has that been changed now? Now here's why the opposition party netas are charging at this bill.
तीनों ने अंदर झांक के देखा ही नहीं, हमारे ऊपर आरोप लगाने लगे। संविधान को भी नहीं, उन्होंने संविधान से ऊपर कोई नहीं, भाई कोई नहीं, हम भी मानते हैं। जहां तक इलेक्शन कमीशन को हटाने की बात है, इसके विषय में संविधान के अनुच्छेद 324 के तहत क्लॉज 5 के तहत प्रावधान है कि इलेक्शन कमिश्नर को चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर की अनुशंसा पर हटाया जा सकता है। ये दोनों चीजें क्लियर है, जो आपने मुद्दा उठाया था, इसलिए मैंने इसको जिक्र किया। दूसरा, किसी ने कहा साहब ये जो चुनाव नहीं कराते हैं वो चुनाव को क्या जानते हैं साहब। अब साहब मैं भी जिले में जिला कलेक्टर रहा, उस समय तो हमने कोई चुनाव लड़ा ही नहीं, तो क्या हम चुनाव नहीं कराते थे। मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहता हूं, इस चुनाव आयोग की जो कार्य प्रणाली है वो निष्पक्ष है, निष्पक्ष रहेगी, सरकार भी निष्पक्ष रखने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है।
4 शब्द जब भी आप चुनाव आयोग की बात करेंगे, निष्पक्षता, निर्भीकता, स्वायत्तता और शुचिता, ये जो कानून आज माननीय मंत्री जी और सरकार लेकर आई है, ये इन चारों शब्दों को बुलडोजर के नीचे कुचलने वाला कानून है। इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ इलेक्शंस, जिसे अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं, एंड अवॉइडेंस ऑफ इंटरफियरेंस ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव, ये इलेक्शन मशीनरी इन दोनों बातों से प्रेरित होगी। ये हमारे संविधान के संविधान निर्माताओं ने कहा। काश आदरणीय कानून मंत्री जी मेरी और आपकी और इस देश के लोगों की नहीं, तो जो बाबा साहब अंबेडकर ने कहा था और जो संविधान सभा में चर्चा हुई थी, अगर एक नजर उस पर डाल लेते तो शायद ये इस कानून को अभी वापस ले लेते या बनाते ही।
ये एक ऐसी व्यवस्था बनाता है कि एक पार्टी मैन, एक यस मैन चुनाव आयुक्त बन सकता है। वो दिन भी दूर नहीं कि चाहे भाजपा अगर कल तो संबित पात्रा को चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर बना सकती है मैडम, और 2:1 के रेशियो से संबित पात्रा देश के चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर बन सकते हैं। आप सोचिए कि ये कितना खतरनाक होगा अगर वो चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर बन गए। ये बिल 3 की टेस्ट पे फेल होता है, द टेस्ट ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस, द टेस्ट ऑफ न्यूट्रलिटी एंड द टेस्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनैलिटी। ये हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंपेरेटिव है कि देश में चुनाव आयोग निष्पक्ष हो, ताकि चुनाव निष्पक्ष हो। अगर चुनाव आयोग निष्पक्ष नहीं होगा तो चुनाव निष्पक्ष नहीं होंगे और लोगों की आस्था इस लोकतंत्र से डगमगा जाएगी।
पहले तो ये निर्णय लिया गया था कि 6 घंटे इस पे चर्चा होगी, उसमें 2.5 घंटे जो सरकार है, सरकार ने अपना टाइम फॉरफीट कर इस पूरी स्पीच को कम करने की कोशिश की। एक महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है, उस महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे को लेकर हम लोग सबने बॉयकॉट किया है। जिस तरीके से ये बिल लाया जा रहा है, किस तरीके से उस पर वोटिंग हो रही है, इसलिए हमने सदन से बॉयकॉट किया है।
आज जो सरकार कर रही है वो एग्जीक्यूटिव कंट्रोल कर रही है। इलेक्शन कमीशन की इंडिपेंडेंस वो जब इंश्योर करता है लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड, तो उसमें एग्जीक्यूटिव दूर दिखे। आज इन्होंने इसको अपने अंदर समेट करके ये तय कर दिया कि चुनाव आयोग, आने वाले बच्चे पढ़ेंगे, वंस अपॉन ए टाइम देयर यूज्ड टू बी एन इंडिपेंडेंट इलेक्शन कमीशन।
So let's go across to Pallavi Saha, who's joining me the latest in this telecast to help us understand what is this big controversy, Pallavi, with the opposition that's refusing to accept the amendments that have been made, the changes and the manner in which it has been now brought in again at the Rajya Sabha. What precisely is the opposition charging at the government at the centre?
Well, the opposition charge basically is concerning the independence of the Election Commission, which they allege is being compromised with this bill, which concerns the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners of the ECI. What they're basically saying is, the selection committee in itself is compromised. The selection committee proposed by the government comprises of the Prime Minister, a cabinet minister, and the leader of the opposition. Earlier, the proposal from the Supreme Court, which directed, of course, a law to be put in place concerning the appointments, had suggested the CJI to be there as part of the selection committee. What the opposition is alleging is that you have two individuals in that selection committee of three from the executive itself and one leader of opposition. So if the government proposes a name in that case, the government wins the vote battle because it is 2:1, two individuals from the executive and one from the opposition. So the independence of the authority in itself is compromised. Now, the government has refuted those charges and said that earlier the 1991 Act had no such proposal concerning the appointment of CEC and the other election commissioners. Now they've put a selection process in place and going through that selection committee itself, a decision will be taken concerning the appointment of these individuals. So the neutrality of the organization, of the institution, has not been compromised, is what the government said. But the opposition, of course, as the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha, walked out because they, of course, alleged that, their concerns were not taken into account. They wanted the bill to be sent to a select committee for further deliberation. So they staged a walkout, and also the charge that in the bill in itself, 6 hours was allotted for the discussion. But the government, the 2.5 hours that were allotted to the government itself, the ruling party, they forfeited that and passed the bill in about 4 hours' time.
So there has been heated discussions on this issue, and the opposition is all guns blazing and are united on this. But the government says that it will ensure that the neutrality of the independence with regard to the bill and of the Election Commission will always prevail. So what are some of the concerns possibly that will have to be taken into consideration and ensure Election Commission stays right on top with regard to its independence and freedom of practice? Now, is there a balance of power that also is being discussed here? Is it tilting towards a certain side? So that remains one of the big issues with regard to what the concerns have been expressed. Now, electoral governance alignment with farmers' intentions, for example. One, of course, the electoral governance in the sense that the Election Commission will take those decisions and then go ahead with regard to, for example, organizing elections and more. But also the misuse of power is there by selection committee. That is an allegation that has come in from the opposition as well.